Please be advised, if you have not seen the movie that is about to be reviewed in this video, stop this video right now, go and watch the movie and then come back, because there are going to be massive plot spoilers throughout the course of this video. Hey guys, welcome back to the video vault. I hope everyone is doing very well. Today we are checking out the 1975 classic Jaws, but before we get into that, if you like this video, please hit that subscribe button and ding on that notification cowbell, which is just right over in the corner there. So yes, anyway, Jaws came out in 1975, directed by Steven Spielberg, and pretty much coined what would become the summer blockbuster. Now, what can I say about this classic movie that hasn't really already been said? You know, there's so many thoughts and opinions on Jaws from throughout the years that yeah, what can I say that, you know, no one's already said? Not a whole lot, because this is without doubt one of the greatest movies that was ever made. It is so good. It's one of the all-time classics. I strongly suggest that, you know, you go ahead and check it out, because it's definitely one of those movies that you can just get lost in. It's got a great story, great characters, great action sequences, beautifully shot, wonderful, you know, use of effects when other effects didn't work, which we'll get into. But anyway, yes, Jaws 1975 is based off of the Peter Benchley novel called Jaws, and that is actually sort of loosely, I shouldn't say loosely based, it was inspired by you know, the Jersey Shore shark attacks. I think it was like 1916, where 5, you know, people were chewed up in the surf in the space for a week. This is something that actually happened, and Benchley got the idea of, like, you know, what if, you know, one of these sort of things came across this small island and didn't go away, it just stayed and pretty much made the island its own personal buffet. So we open up, we get this is what started all the underwater POV shark shot, which then got utilized too much in every other Jaws movie that came after it, and even every other sort of, like, anything to do with a creature feature sort of came after it as well, did the exact same thing, so it got utilized way too much. And this is the only time it does this in the whole movie. We get the shark POV. We hear that beautiful, that ominous score by John Williams, which the first time Steven Spielberg heard it, he thought it was fun, you know, sort of, it was a joke because it was just 2 notes, dun. But it's amazing how something so simple, only containing 2 notes, can be something can be this is where my tongue stopped working, and can become something that's just so totally rememberable and iconic. And you know that as soon as you hear the boom, 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 you know that, you know, things are going to go down. So our opening scene, we have, you know, this is, you know, typical. Everything is typical 70s. We got, you know, the beach party, people smoking, drinking, you know, one guy playing guitar around a bonfire. It's obviously the pre-dawn. This dude's making eye contact with this girl named Chrissy. He's like, he's a little bit interested. He's like, oh yeah, you know, there could be something happening here. He's like sort of enthralled with this girl, and They go off. She wants to go swimming. He's like, oh yeah, okay, we'll go for a swim. Sounds like fun. Yeah, innocent. Nothing too major. They, she goes into the water. He unfortunately passes out on the beach while he's trying to get ready to go swimming. Probably the one thing that was good for him actually, because this is the most captivating and brutal opening of any movie. We just get underwater view. Boom, boom, boom. I retract my original. We don't get. This is probably the only time we get the shark credit. We do get it a little bit, but it's used very, very sparingly. We get this absolutely brutal shark attack sequence where Chrissy's just dragged under the water, dragged around. You don't see the shark at all, but you don't need to see it, you know it's there. Because something of that ferocity and aggression is it's only one thing. It's holy crap, she's being attacked by a shark. It's that's the only thing. And we just get this really desperate cries for help at the very end, where she just screams, God please help, and then pulled under. And that's it as far as Chrissy goes, although she does come back probably about a little bit, not on screen anyway, 10-15, well, a part of her anyway, just her arm. Where we meet Martin, the chief of Amity Island, Martin Brody, who's come there from New York, and everything's been pretty crazy until now. We start off with it's oh, we've got a missing swimmer. It's okay. I'm sure it's probably nothing. She probably just ran out on this dude after he's passed out, and that's it. But unfortunately, her remains are found on the beach, and it's instantly, Martin just looks out over the ocean, because he's just already got this thing in his gut saying, yeah, we got a shark out here. It's the only thing that can sort of do that. And so we're writing up the medical reports yeah, no, cause of death, yeah, it's a shark attack. He's okay, do we have any beach clothes stuff? No, right, I'm gonna go make some. And this is where the greed and politics sort of comes into play a bit. We have the mayor, Larry Boehm, played very well by Murray Hallam. He's very ignorant, has a lot of power, and just goes by what he is thinking is in the town's best interest, because Amity is a tourist town. The main time that they get any sort of income for a lot of the businesses is through those tourism periods. The 4th of July weekend and all the summer holidays and everything like that. And so I can sort of see, in a sense, where he's coming from a little bit, but it's just, it's no, it's not. He's very blind to it. Even persuading the medical examiner to say, no, it's not this, it's that. And it's no, it's not a shark, it's a boat propeller. And it's well, hang on, no, it can't be a boat propeller, because here's the list of reasons. One is no, it's this, and one of the saying goes is, okay, fine, so this is where money sort of overpowers everything else. And Brody's still 100% convinced that it's a shark. We go forward, we get one of the infamous beach attack scenes where everyone's at the beach, they're all swimming, having fun. We get a lot of underwater shots as well. One of the beautiful things about this movie, actually, and Steven Spielberg has actually said it in one of the making of documentaries, which is actually you know, if you got the Blu-ray, it's actually on this disc, or even like the I think it's the 20th anniversary edition VHS. It's on that as well. Like there's this, you know, little documentary, and it just says about how a lot of the shots throughout this movie were handheld. Like they'd put a handheld camera onto like a little raft or whatever and put a protective box around it so the water wouldn't get in, and that's where you get a lot of the sea level shots from, which is really, really cool, because all this movie, well, the bulk of this movie was shot on location in the small island community of Martha's Vineyard, which portrayed, you know, Amity. And great location. It's like, it is the ideal spot, like, you know, this remote island community that's, you know, away from the mainland, is like, you know, they're kind of isolated. There's no sort of outside help. They're pretty much left to their own devices. And I'm saying and a lot. I gotta stop doing that. I mean, maybe I should put an counter. No, I'm not saying the Sims. And it's just like, this is another one of the, this is like one of the first surprise attacks, because normally as soon as you hear the boom, 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 you know, stuff's going down, and you kind of don't really get that with this one. Like, you don't get the initial boom, 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 boom. It's just already escalated with little Alex Kittner who's, you know, swimming on his raft, and all of a sudden you see it's like, oh, yeah. Well, it's not really a surprise attack, is it? A surprise comes out of nowhere, which is weighed up. But there's this chaos and panic on the beach. Like, hang on, you know, this kid's gone missing. There's blood all through the ocean. Like, there's only one thing that can do that, and the mayor's just, no, it's not. It's not this. It's something else. It's like, oh, dude, how can you be so blind that nobody just mysteriously drowns in a pool of blood, like, for no reason? Like, there's a shark or something out there. It's like, the mother sees it, knows it. Everyone's still, you know, concerned about themselves, concerned about the greed. And it's like, you know, oh, I hope they don't close the beaches, and oh, I don't want this because it'll affect my business. And like, hey, if word gets out, you know, you got a shark problem, yeah, you've all your businesses are kind of screwed. And this is where we get introduced to Quint, the salty sea dog, who knows how severe, like, the whole situation was, and knows is like the shark out there is really, really bad. And it's just sort of laughing at, like, how stupid the people are being. And it's like, so it's like, you know, I'm gonna value my neck for a lot more than $3,000. I'll find the shark for 3, but I'll kill him for 10. Like, you know, and 75 is a lot of money, but it's like, well, we'll take it under advisement. They just think, yeah, whatever. We're gonna take it under advisement, which means we're not gonna do a damn thing. So it had been advertised, the $3,000 bounty for the shark, and it brings in, you know, fishermen and other hunters from a lot of different places. And this also brings in Matt Hooper, very well portrayed by Richard Dreyfuss, as, you know, the guy that they've requested from the Oceanographic Institute. And he's like, oh, excuse me, officer, like, you know, it's like he's talking to Chief Brody, but doesn't realise it's Chief Brody. He just thinks it's another officer. So it's a little bit of comedic sort of stuff in there. It's like, you know, one of the when the Foresight was like, is there a good restaurant or hotel? Oh yeah, you walk straight ahead. It's like, he just turns around and goes, they're all gonna die. I wonder how he knew that. It's just like a little bit of foreshadowing, like just like the carelessness and whatever. Just you're clueless. You're gone. You're toast, basically. So he ends up finding Martin. They have this exchange. They go see the remains of the girl on the beach, Chrissy Watkins, the first victim from the opening scene. And Hoover just sort of says, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you notify the Coast Guard? Why didn't you do this? This is, you've said it's a boating accident. You're wrong. This is purely and simply a shark attack. And we have like what I call the false celebration. Like they've got this shark, it's like this fantasy tiger shark. Everyone's thinking like, yes, we've got it. We've got the shark. Everything can go back to normal. All except for Quint, where he's just sailing along in the Orca. He's going past everything. I think he knows that it's a great white. He knows what sort of shark it is, and he's just seen them string up this tiger shark, and he just goes, just gives a little chuckle like, no, you're completely wrong. You've got the wrong. It's not the right shark. So I think that's something that's very, very interesting. Unless you look at it and listen very, very closely, you're not really going to pick it up. There's a bit of an argument between Hooper and some of the fishermen. It's like, well, what do you mean? What's this bite radius crab? No, what sort of shark is this? And like, they just think, oh, it's just a shark. It's a man-eater. It's like, it's the right one. And Hooper sort of has the only way you can prove that it actually is the right shark, is you cut it open. And the mayor just shuts it down completely. It's like, no, you're not doing this because, I don't want to see the little Alex Kidner spill out all over the dock and shock everybody. And it's like, well, that's sort of really the only way to prove it. But no, the mayor shuts it down and saying, no, this is it. Everything's back to normal. And it sounds very familiar. Very familiar. But anyway, leads into this absolutely touching scene with Martin and young Sean, where you already know the scene I'm talking about, where Sean pretty much mirrors every action that Roy Scheider's character Martin is doing, like the cupping of the face, the folding and unfolding the fingers, like everything is just so beautifully done. It's just an absolutely touching scene. Hooper comes over, they have a bit of a conversation, they end up going out to where the shark is, they do the dissection, and shock horror, it's not the right shark, it's just wrong place, wrong time sort of thing. And so they end up going out, they find the boat of Ben Gardner, who is one of the fishermen that was going out, trying to catch the shark. And Hooper goes in the water, checks out the hull, and there's this massive, massive tooth, which he pulls out and identifies the species. Pretty much showing us like, oh, hang on, this is a great white. This is pretty bad. Sees another hole in the boat, goes over. Just gives it a little knock, and here comes this face in this frame, just like unexpected. There's Ben Gardner, his boat's been attacked and everyone's been killed. And in a moment of panic, he drops the tooth, and so Hooper panics, drops the tooth in his flashlight, and just goes straight back to the boat. It's like, looks at Martin and says, like, things are about to get, this is bad, this is really bad. They try to convince the mayor, but he doesn't want to borrow it. He's like, no, it's not, our beach is going to be open for 4th of July, it's going to be one of the best summers we've ever had. And it's like, it's just, he's disregarding what they're saying. It's like, no, we've caught the shark, it's fine, it's fine. We've got it, everything's, you know, going to be hunky-dory. And Hooper and Brody are trying to convince the mayor, like, no, it's not. You open the beaches on the 4th of July, you're basically ringing a dinner bell saying, come and get it. And he's not convinced. The only thing that Mayor Vaughan's concerned with is the graffiti that's been done to the Amity Island 50th, you know, 4th of July Regatta sign. He's more concerned about that and would rather just ignore that, you know, the particular problem of a great white shark, which he doesn't believe it even exists, that would just swim up and bite him in the ass. Quote Matt Hooper in the movie. Still not buying it, so 4th of July weekend comes, all these huge tourists and that are coming to the wonderful town of Amity, but no one's wanting to go into the water because they've all heard about the shark attacks that have happened. And the mayor's still passing on. It's like, pretty much bullies a family to go into the water and go swimming. And just like, no, this, like, it's fine, it's you know, he's washing his hands, like, no, it's fine, you know, he's still under the belief that even though he's been told that, you know, you've got the wrong thing. So because Hooper accidentally dropped the tooth, he doesn't believe it for 1 second. It's like, no, it's fabricated, it's made up. So as soon as this family started going, like, you can tell, even just look on the mother's face, like, she's very concerned, she's very cautious, still thinking that, like, no, something's not right, there's still a shark in that area. People end up going in. We have, you know, the news crew are there, including the news reporter is actually author Peter Benchley, believe it or not. So he has a little cameo in the movie, which I think is pretty cool. We have the mayor on camera saying it's a beautiful day, you know, we're happy to report we've caught and killed a large predator that supposedly injured some bathers, which is, you know, political jargon for, well, we've caught an animal that we think has killed people. Which turns out to be completely and utterly wrong, because while everyone's having fun and enjoying themselves, we get another shark attack, don't we? After we have a panic at the beach, courtesy of a couple of kids with a cardboard fin who nearly get their heads blown off by a bunch of cops and people with boats and rifles. There's just absolutely nothing. Everyone's calm. Like, we see this fin coming towards some swimmers. Panic ensues. And it's just a couple of kids playing a prank with a cardboard fin. And it's like, haha, this is funny, until they see, you know, a couple of rifles pointed in their faces, like, he made me do it. He talked me into it. And it's like, yeah, it's just a couple of pranksters. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. And then we hear, shark! And it's like, oh, now what? Like, there's a lot of skepticism, especially from Brody. Like, as soon as he hears shark, he's like, oh, now what? Until he gets told, you know, it's being spotted where your kid is, like, oh. So the tension quickly escalates, and a whole group sort of carries over, and like, they want to see what all the commotion is. And this time it is in fact the real deal. Michael Brody, the chief's oldest son, is with a group of other kids, trying to get their boat and everything ready. There's a little guy in a rowboat. We actually see him in an early episode because he's the scout leader who's, you know, getting the kids to do the swim. He's like trying to encourage them along. It's like, hang on, you guys are right, and then boom, his boat gets capsized. So does Michael's boat. They both get capsized. He's trying to struggle to get back onto his boat and gets attacked. And that's when people sort of realize, holy crap, you know, this is really bad. Like, there's this huge panic. Like, you hear people scream, has anybody got a gun and shoot it? Martin goes and drags Michael from the water. He's in shock. I mean, who wouldn't be after seeing something as vicious as that? Which is actually sort of one of the first times that we actually see the shark. It's done very, very well in that particular scene. So we go to the hospital. Brody finally convinces Vaughn to sign the contract to, you know, pay Quint what he wants. We go, oh, is acting in the town's best interest. Like, town's best interest, people think you're the mayor of Shark City, you want the beaches open, like, ring, ring, here's dinner. So then we get the scene with Quint in his, I wouldn't even know what you call it, like his, we'll just say his base of operations. There's a little counteraction between him and Hooper. And we get to the final third of the movie, which is, it's just the three characters. It's just Brody, Quint, and Hooper. That's all it is, just those three. And this is by far the best part of the movie, because we get to see these characters sort of end up developing some sort of bond and respect for with each other, and, you know, try to do whatever they can to stop this horrible, menacing creature that's, you know, been preying on the small town. And this is where the movie gets very innovative as well, because it's very, very well noted that Bruce, which is what I believe Steven Spielberg actually named the shark. When they were testing it on dry land, it worked fine, but when they were trying to shoot the scenes in the water, saltwater and animatronics, they just don't work. They don't work. So the shark would hardly ever work. So this is where they came up with the idea for the barrels, and brought the attention, like, even though you couldn't see the shark, you knew as soon as you saw the barrels, you knew it was there. And I thought that was an incredibly brilliant move to make. And we get the biggest reveal, like no music, no nothing. We just get a little off a cliff, and bang, here it is. Like, Brody's upset, like, that Hooper doesn't throw any chum out, he just drives the boat. His argument just says, slow ahead. I can go slow ahead, why don't you come down and chum some of this bleak? And up comes the shark, like, no music, no nothing, it's just whoosh. Leads to the iconic and extremely often misquoted line, which Roy Scheider actually completely improv'd on set. It's just, you're going to need a bigger boat. It's, you're going to need a bigger boat, not we're going to need a bigger boat. Yeah, it's very similar to Star Wars, where Empire Strikes Back. No, I am your father, and yet everyone believes it's Luke, I am your father. No, it's not. It's no, I am your father. So I'm probably going to get some people in the comments saying, no, you're not. It is Luke, I'm your father. It's like, watch the movie. Watch the movie. And you will see when he says, you're going to need a bigger boat, that you've been saying the line wrong the whole time. We get this, like, oh, you know, this shark's, you know, like 20-25 foot or something like that. They put in a couple of barrels and like, well, we'll see how long it takes for them to come up. And we have one of the most lighthearted parts of the scene anyway, when we get Hooper and Quint comparing scars. Ice Nine Kills just popped in my head. Rock the Boat, Ice Nine Kills from the silver screen is all based on Jaws. Check it out, it's a great track. And off topic. Yeah, they're comparing the scars. Oh, this was from that, that's from this. And then we get the infamous Indianapolis monologue from Quint, which Robert Shaw actually wrote himself in the script. No one credit for it. He wrote that whole bit himself, and it was just so well done. You can see the humanity behind the character, like what turned him into this sort of, you know, blue collar, salt of the earth, scruffy, hard-working character, and you end up feeling for Quint, like, wow, he's been through all this, and this is the way he is. Like, I get it. It's the same with all these characters. Like, you end up being invested in who they are and what they've done. And so the shark attacks the boat. It's like, oh great, man, taking on water. They end up pumping a third barrel into him. And it's like, well, why don't we start leading the shark in the shore? So they start doing that. The shark's chasing him. Quint pushes the motor too hard, and it caps out. It's dead in the water, literally. The boat's just dead in the water. And so they're like, well, what can you do with all this stuff you've got here, Hooper? And he's got some sort of poison that could kill the shark, you know, if you can get it with this spear. And think, oh, okay, well, we'll give it a shot. So they put the shark cage and everything together, and we get the cage attack scene, which combines great use of not only the mechanical shark that they used for the movie, but also Ron and Valerie Taylor. They are very well-known sharkographers from South Australia. They provided like the real-life shark footage. So anytime in Jaws you see an actual footage of a real shark swimming, that is you know, Taylor footage, Ron and Valerie Taylor footage, and they combined that so well in the movie that it's just seamless. And of course, the shark attacks the cage. Everyone thinks that they bring it up. Hooper's gone. They think, oh no, you know, the shark's got him. And the shark comes up, attacks the boat, and Quint just struggles so hard to try to not get into the shark's mouth. There's like no fighting as he's sliding down towards it, but chomp, a valiant effort by Quint, grabbing machete and just stabbing at this thing. Let me go, and just unfortunately, no, for Quint, he's gone. The boat continues to sink. Roy Scheider's just panicking, like, what do I do? Here comes the shark again. Scheider's character, Martin Brody, grabs the tank of compressed air, which kind of becomes a bit of a MacGuffin in a way. Like, pounds the shark's nose with it and ends up losing it in his mouth. And we get the final stand. Man versus beast. Brody's ascending up the mast. Here comes the shark. He's got this long pole, this spear on a pole. Just stab. Loses that. Climbs to where he can get a vantage point. Grabs his rifle and it's like, okay, come on, show me the tank. We've got the music, it's the adrenaline, the tension is boom, 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 boom. It's building. Misses 5 shots, and then the infamous, you know, smile, you son of a... And they must have like filled their quota on how many times someone could say the word bitch or whatever, because you don't, unless you listen very, very closely, you don't actually hear Roy Scheider actually utter the word bitch, because it's underneath the gunshot. So the smile, you son of a bang, and if you listen close enough, just after the bang you can hear itch. You can hear smile, you son of a itch. Or is it just ch? I think it's just a so, but look it up on YouTube anyway. And it confuses a lot of people. Like, is it this? Is it that? It's like, does he? It's like, does he actually say "smile, you son of a bitch," or is it "smile, you son of a"? And then the gun firing is, you know, the bitch. But you listen close enough, you actually can hear him say it. But yeah, they've put it so like the gunshot is over the top of it. So they must have filled their quota of how many times you can say these words to sort of keep your PG rating in 1975. Now it doesn't really matter too much. It doesn't really matter, but the shark explodes. It's like this look of joy and jubilation. It's like, yes, I've done it. You know, the creature's been defeated, and up pops Hooper, and you know, they just swim towards shore, and that is it for Jaws. Again, one of the greatest movies of all time. This is an incredible masterpiece. It pretty much revitalized the monster movie, the creature feature, because then we had a whole bunch of Jaws ripoffs that came out like this. You know, White Death, and you know, we had Piranha, we had Orca the Killer Whale, we had Alligator, we had all these creature features, and even like Blood Beach, and you know, Sand Sharks and whatever else just sort of came after that. So they're pretty much all basically just Jaws ripoffs. And you know, we had the sequels, and oh boy. Oh boy. I'm gonna have some fun with those, aren't I? Yes. Like, Jaws 2 is a passable sequel. Like, it's not great, because when you've got the way that Jaws ended up being, oh man, there's some big expectations to live up to. It tried, but unfortunately didn't. You'll hear my views up in the next video anyway, because I'm going to run through the series. And they just go downhill. Literally. They just go downhill. But anyway, thank you so much for checking out my review of Jaws. I'll be dropping these videos. I have such an itchy nose right now. I need to trim my mustache, because I think the hair's sort of tickling me underneath my nose. It's driving me crazy. But yeah, look out for Jaws 2 when it drops on Saturday. I'm going to be pumping out 2 videos per week, so I shall see you all next time. Don't forget, ring that notification cowbell and hit that subscribe. I'll probably tell you that on the tail anyway. See you next time. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. If you like it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, you hit that subscribe, and you ding that notification cowbell. For any other reviews you want to look at, I will put links up here, and maybe one there. Also, the links to my socials will be down in the description box below, and I shall see you all next time.